Quickly, I'll call the meeting to order. I have a very short roll this particular meeting. As this is a reorganizational meeting. So before we get started, I just want to have the remote commissioners acknowledge themselves online.
Chip Mason.
Andrew Savage.
Great. Hello, everybody. Also, the next item on the agenda will be the actual agenda, if there's a motion for that.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the election of the fiscal year airport commission chair. Do I hear any nominations?
I am honored to nominate him, George, for this role to continue in the role. I think he's demonstrated his ability to run a really good meeting. You've really learned the ropes, and they've just been up. It can get complicated, and it goes so smoothly, and you have respectable demeanor. So when we have contentious comments or thoughts, you handle them really well. So I think you're a real attribute to this commission, and I'm very happy to nominate you once again. I don't know how many times you've been there, but I hope you keep going.
Thank you, Helen. Is there a second or any additional nominations?
Don't need a second. Robert's rule. Sorry, you don't need a second.
Oh, sorry.
Any other nominations? I think is the next.
Oh, I got to say that twice or something like that, right? Any other nominations for chair? Any conversation or debate? All in favor for Tim to be and continue to be our chair?
Aye.
All in favor?
All aye.
And that is unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And here's the gavel. It's your meeting.
Alrighty. Thank you, Nick. We move on to item 4, which is the election of the airport vice chair. I'd be willing to entertain the nominees for the vice chair position.
Point of inquiry.
Yes.
Does Jeff want to do it again?
Yes, he does. So I reached out. I was gonna make that comment. I reached out to Jeff on Saturday. He was interested in returning this role. He was supposed to be here, so not
Okay.
exactly.
I would like to nominate Jeff Schulman, please.
Okay, thank you, Chip. Is there? Oh, I guess we don't need a second for that. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of Jeff as vice chair, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That also carries unanimously. I'm sure Jeff will thank you when he gets here. We move on to item 5, which is public forum. I see we do have some members of the public here, which is fantastic. And one online as well, right? So we will start with the folks in the room here. As a reminder, you have 3 minutes to speak to members of the commission. That'd be great. Thank you. It is not meant to be a back and forth dialogue. We're here to listen to what you have to say, and then we will take that into account. So I guess.
Timer up. Okay, so who's gonna go first? I can start. Sure. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Julie Masuga, I live in Burlington. A few of us wanted to come here to commemorate that it has been over 1 year since the last known transport through the Burlington International Airport by ice. We have been in contact with families impacted by the efforts made here, people whose lives and livelihoods have been saved by this airport and this community's willingness to stand up to ice. There used to be transport several times per week out of our prisons, and that has slowed down dramatically. People have had the time to talk to lawyers and get set free because this airport is no longer an option for ice. The impact is staggering. On a personal note, in my decade or so of community organizing, I have never been part of a campaign that felt this swift or effective. We can't rest on our laurels. We still have to make sure that ICE doesn't find new ways in the building. But again, we are all incredibly grateful.
All right, thank you, Julie. Who would like to go next?
I would just
Okay. So I'm Sherry Wormser, I'm a Burlington resident and I'm here to celebrate also. I was gonna make cake, but I didn't know if fire rules would allow me to have candles. I was gonna bring wine, but I didn't think about wine, so I have bubbles. Would anyone like to share in the bubbles to celebrate? Okay. So while I agree with Julie, this is a time for celebration. We need to commemorate the times that we have because we still have a lot of work to do in our communities, in our country, in our world. ICE continues to take people, they're doing it in different ways. And while celebrations are surrounded in grief, I think it's important that we celebrate these little wins. And because of your bravery and willingness to put people first and improve safety, it has impacted the lives of so many people. I am somebody that helps to find family members of the detainees that go through Vermont. And there's been over 1,000 people. And it's heartbreaking. They go to horrible, horrible places where there's awful inhumane conditions, murders, rapes, etc. But there's also what's happening to people is those are 1,000 people that don't have their moms or dads for Christmas, for Halloween, for birthdays, for making dinner. They are no longer there. How many people have been injured? How many people have been harmed physically and emotionally during this time? So while we have these celebrations, it is so important to continue to put these families first. How many people have lost their income? Their person who brings in the income, and they might lose their housing or their food. And so we continue to have work in our communities, and I just want to celebrate with y'all and say thank you and hope we can continue to work as a community to help bring this to a stop.
Great, thank you. Are you all set? or-
I just want to say thank you all so much for this wise work on this issue. I remember coming into this campaign a year ago, over a year ago now, when we were documenting this, and I assumed that this body would not budge. It would take a really protracted, hard effort to get you to listen to what was happening in your building and to get you all to listen and take action. And it's really inspired my faith in the public process and in the human rights democracy and deliberative bodies as bodies that can take in public feedback and change and grow. And I want to thank you all for that. And the efforts that have been made have made a incredible impact on our community and throughout the entirety of Living Love. And I can only hope that other airports will continue to follow forever to say.
And we have
What was your name? Yes, in person on leave. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Lee.
Can you hear me? I don't know are you supposed to be able to see me or no?
We can see you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it wasn't telling me if you could see me and I couldn't tell. Okay, it's okay?
Well, we can't see.
Okay.
But it's your discretion if you want to.
Sorry?
You're fine to proceed. If we don't see you, but you're fine to proceed.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I wanted to come in person, but I couldn't make it. Yes, I was also wanting to speak about the year anniversary of the last confirmed ICE transport. We have still been maintaining our tracker, which tracks all of the ICE detainees in the Vermont prison system. And I just wanted to let you know that there's a lot of like numerical proof that ICE's inability to use the airport has made a difference both for individuals and in an overall pattern. I know that one of the things that prompted ICE to stop using the airport was that they were no longer allowed to sneak in through side doors and use key cards against policy. And so I just really wanted to thank you all for enforcing those existing policies and being vigilant about that. I think, I would be very sad if, a year later we were like, oh, we don't have to worry about this anymore. So I just wanted to encourage you to please stay vigilant. I think that it could, ICE could decide to come back at any time and try to go sneaking around in the side doors again. So just please keep an eye out for that. But since a year ago, there has been no confirmed transports through Burlington Airport. And we have been able to confirm that nearly all of the transports that we have seen did not come through here. So, that said, there was a transport yesterday that was a little bit confusing. So I just want to ask you to please stay extra vigilant in case they try to come back, since it's been a year. In the time since they haven't been able to use the airport, there has been between 20 to 30 people who ICE tried to move out of state illegally or tried to hide from their lawyers by bringing them to Vermont. And I just want you to know that if they had been able to get on a plane in Burlington at 4 a.m, those people would not be here anymore. They would be in another state or likely deported. So there are specific cases where we've been tracking whether lawyers are able to find their clients, whether their clients are where the court says they are. And there have been many people who have been able to go home because they could not be snuck away at 4 a.m. illegally. There's a couple especially high profile cases. If folks saw what happened with Pastor Stephen Tendo, it's very likely that if the Burlington Airport had still been an option for ICE in that moment, that he would have been deported and probably killed, as well as Johanna and Camila, who were arrested at Dorset Street. ICE tried to move them the next morning illegally against a habeas order, and we had to track them down. They were taken to Massachusetts and get a court order for them to be brought back. And if they had been on a plane, they would have been gone as well. And they are now home. So I just wanted to say that I know it can be scary to say, no, ICE, you're not allowed to go sneaking. You can't be breaking the rules this way, but please keep it up because it is making a huge difference for people. And we really appreciate your collaboration on this.
All right, thank you, leaders. Anyone else? No one else.
Nobody else on there.
All right, so we will close down public forum and move on to item 6, which is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the contents of the consent agenda as proposed?
So moved.
It's moved by Helen. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second by Al. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? What carries?
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys.
We go on now to item 7, which is a motion. I entertain a motion to approve the memo in our agenda packet pertaining to the execution of a contract with Joan Payne's Group for construction oversight services. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
Second.
All right, moved by Al, seconded by Helen. Discussion. All right, so we're ready for the discussion. I'm not sure who's leading it now.
Was that me? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Jones Payne.
Jones Payne first. Construction, that was from Jones Payne. Okay.
I'm gonna do my best to lay this out this week. So for the sound installation program update for phase 5, construction is pretty much complete at this point with a few.
Point of order, we're discussing the Jones Payne
Jones.
contract.
So, no. So a part of this contract, there was a line item that both the consultants, the airport, and when conducting the independent fee estimate, third party consultant reviews those fees. There's a line item that was missed in there. So this amendment to that contract includes the line item that is missed. Totaling. So previously, we brought to you guys to execute a contract with Jones Payne for $1.151 million. This new request with the added line item that was missed, is now $1.66 million. So it's an addition of approximately $450,000.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Madison on this item?
No.
I guess I'll just ask the question, what was missed in the first round that was added in the second round?
It was complete just oversight of the line item. It was missed by the consultant, by us. It was in the original proposal. We just did not submit the full amount. That
What
was
was it
needed
for?
for oversight.
Isn't that?
So,
Yeah.
so part of the residential sound program, Jones Payne, our consultant, does all of the engineering and architectural work, design work for the grant. This is in that fee, and part of the line item that was missed was in this fee. So the $450,000 was missed by us, the consultant, and the third party reviewer.
In the total document of the consultant, it did have that original amount. We just didn't see that the sum of all of these numbers didn't have a lot of them. But same scope of work like Madison said, same thing,
Yes,
same
this isn't
grants.
grant whatsoever. It was just a miss.
Okay. Commissioners, any further discussion on this topic? Go ahead, Chip. Chip, you're on mute.
Thank you, Tim. Sorry about that. Tim and I were exchanging emails about this, and this may have been a change that I didn't catch before. I'm puzzled by the motion of approving the memo. Like, I'm sort of struggling with what exactly is our role. I mean, I assume previous times it had been, to recommend approval of a contract. And we would have reviewed it and provided comments. Like, I don't know whether this change has come out of the city attorney's office or if this is internal, but it seems odd to me to approve a memo.
Yeah, Tim and I talked about this as well. Sorry, Tim, if I can answer that.
Yes, and then I'll follow.
Okay, yeah, Tim and I talked about this as well. We don't write any of the proposed motions. Of course, these are only proposed motions. You don't have to make the motion on the document itself. All of these proposed motions are coming from the city attorney's office. I think one of the things that we're gonna work on at the request of our previous chair and our current chair is either a presentation or a document that outlines that very question. What is the role, and then what is some of the authorizing areas that you either recommend as a contract to Board of Finance or City Council, or otherwise from City Council, from the attorney's office. At the end of the day, yes, we're looking for a recommendation for the actual contract, for the actual work to Board of Finance and City Council. That's what we as the administration are asking for from the Airport Commission.
And I'll just add on to that. So everything that Nick just said is something we have talked about. So we are looking into it. I did take the position that when we approve the memo, if you read the memo, it's a request to the Board of Finance. It's a request to the City Council to take the actions that are indicated in the memo. So our prior motions of recommending that the Board of Finance and City Council take these actions, to me, are generally analogous, but not completely exact, but generally analogous to when we approve the memo, we're approving the contents of the memo. And the contents of the memo are a request to the Board of Finance and City Council to take the action indicated in the memo. So for me, it's generally the same, but Chip, I hear what you're saying. It's not exactly the same, and understanding why this has changed is something that Nick and I have talked about. We're going to explore it further.
So I'll vote in favor of this, but I would ask that there be some further clarification. I mean, because to me, this sort of confuses what exactly is our role in this action. It's an odd, as someone who practices in this area and has for 30 years, it's a very weird way to characterize. If the ask or the expectation is we're reviewing a contract, making changes if warranted or recommending changes, and then passing it along to another body for consideration. So Tim, if you and or Nick can sort of follow up with the city attorney's office as to what exactly our role is and why the change in wording, I would appreciate that.
Fair enough, that is on our agenda.
That's it.
All right, any other discussion?
And just to further, maybe just Chip's point, and I'm in agreement, I mean, to the. Essentially, the memo itself includes the airport commission approving the memo as presented, so there is a weird circular, sort of illogical structure to it, so I think it'd be great just to close that up. I think the essence or the sentiment is there, but I think the structure might just need to be thought through.
All right, thank you, Matt and Drew. Any other discussion as well? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, we move on now to item 8, which is the airport quarterly operations update from Dave.
Okay, cool. Give me 1 second, I'm just gonna share my screen. You see that? Good. All right. Okay, I was going to send this last month, but it was delayed to this month. Some of which talks about snow, which we're so far away from the previous snow season, but we'll go over some of that, those items, but we'll go over the last several months as well as current and ongoing items as well as future items for airport operations and airfield maintenance. Starting off with some bullet points here, the snow season overview, we had about 82.4 inches. That's the official accumulation for the season. That's the 25-26 season, which is pretty much in line with a typical snow season. It's usually around 80 or 81 inches per year. And luckily we didn't have too terrible of a season. Myself, Andrew, which is the maintenance manager, and Stacy Lovely, she is the operations manager. We went to the Hershey conference in Triple E Northeast chapter, and we had an FAA inspection on June 1st, and we'll do that. Bunch of projects happening, ongoing projects. TSA inspection we had in the month of June, which we did actually really well. For that inspection, it's the entire month that we are inspected over the course of that entire month. And they do a series of inspections, they check the paperwork, all the things that we do to maintain the security of the airport, and we did really well for that inspection. Wildlife hazard management, every year we have to go through a review of a wildlife hazard management. It's basically a plan that we have. We do review that every single year. That was done back in, I believe it was June of this, only a couple months ago. We also have a tabletop exercise I'm going to go through momentarily, but that's a yearly event that we have with all of our mutual aid responders, stakeholders. That has to do with an emergency response. On some years, we do a review of the airport emergency plan. This particular year, we actually had a tabletop exercise. We actually had a scenario that we went through, as well as a scenario that had to do with security component for the emergency testing of the airport emergency plan. That took place over the firehouse, which is right over there, on May 22nd. So again, we're at the Hershey conference. That is actually the Northeast chapter. Hershey, Pennsylvania. They have it once per year. It's very technical in nature conference, which is really great for myself and Stacy and Andrew to go to these because it gets into the pavement management, operational components, things that are more technical rather than the other stuff they have it more of the national conferences. So this is myself and Marie went to the national conference for Triple E. That was out in Los Angeles, and very great event. And they had a lot of really relevant topics. They have sessions that we go to, as well as a vendor display area where we see all the new and upcoming technological things that are coming down the pike. And it's really good to get involved, know what's happening, what's going on. And this particular on the slide on the left was a very interesting session. It had to do with a couple recent events that have happened at some airports. At DCA, it was January, about a year and a half ago, I think, when that took place. Where the accident, the American Airlines flight that was coming in crashed prior to the airport. As well as the Louisville, Kentucky, the UPS flight that departed and crashed on takeoff. And what this was a panel at the conference, and they went over step by step what they were thinking, what the processes, what the thought processes were in handling the events. So we had operations managers and administrators that were at these airports that were part of those not exercise, these emergency events that took place at those airports. So very informative. I got a lot out of that particular session. This particular slide actually has to do with the drone response. What the FAA is trying to come up with plans for the drone response and things of that nature. So, and of course, there's us at the Coliseum in one of the events there too. So, again, we had 82.4 inches for the snow season. We have a couple snow crews, A crew and B crew, as well as landside, and roughly 7 people on personnel on each team. We have different shifts that we have 3 to 11 and 11 to 7 a.m. That's typically how it works. We have a crew that holds over and then typically hold over to 11, and we have another crew that comes in from 11 to 7 a.m. Abutting their usual shift in the morning. So, and landside crew, they come in as conditions dictate. We have an automated call in. We call in a system that we have where we automatically call them in. All we do is basically press one button and it calls in snow groups. So using that technology a little bit to our advantage. Previously, we had called each individual person. We had to wake them up in bed and say, hey, you have to come in now for snow. Now it's just one push of a button and it calls them in, which is great. So new piece of equipment that's already been through the airport commission, but we put those to good use this past winter. It was great. It's probably the best season in terms of snow equipment, which is tremendous for us. And Tiger 9, Tango 10, 16, and new loader, and that's already been approved and procured through the airport commission. So currently working on a vehicle replacement plan with Passero. They've actually just wrapped that up. They review our current equipment and compare that to what we need in the very near future. And some of which are things that we need to discuss in terms of how we replace the equipment, some of which is pushing about 25 years old. So, okay. We had the AEP review and the ABSEC and the tabletop exercise that I briefly touched on earlier, but it was a great exercise. All mutual aid responders, TSA, airport operations, maintenance personnel as well. Some of them participated in that, but it was a good exercise to figure out our strengths, weaknesses, things of that nature, for a response to a scenario essentially. So, okay, we had our FAA inspection in June 1st through the 3rd. These are some of the things that the inspector takes pictures as we go through the inspection. And this is our physical inspection. We had one of our operations specialists actually do a mock inspection with the FAA inspector, and make sure that we're looking for the right things, as well as he looks at the physical condition of the pavement, all the things that the safety related items having to do with the airport, the airfield itself. So this is one of the things that he's taking pictures of. This particular picture is in the threshold bar that we had a couple of cracks in the threshold that we had due to the inspection. We had corrected within like 1 or 2 days. So we were on it very quickly. They also looked for the markings and signs for the airfield. Some of the things here that you see are some of the deficient items that we that were identified. Yeah, yeah, sure.
You have to do pavement working, do you have to contract someone out, or do you have someone on staff who does pavement work?
A combination of both. Some of it, each year we contract a little bit, through a contractor, and a lot of it we do in-house. So we kind of split it, so, yeah. It's a huge undertaking. We try to hit all the markings every year.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of paint, a lot of beads.
Yeah.
They're the reflective beads that go embedded in the pavement, in the paint.
Yeah,
And has to be done a very certain way.
right.
Otherwise you can't see it, pilots cannot see it because the beads won't be embedded into paint properly, things of that nature, so. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, go ahead.
So, no, I was gonna add both sides of the fence, so we do our.
Oh, that's true.
drives, we do our roadways, we
Okay.
do tenant parking lots. all
Yeah. Well, both, I'm just thinking about line striping from a
Yes.
municipal standpoint and how like long there's like one person in the city who does line stripping.
Takes forever.
Forever, and so I just was wondering if you said that it took you like 2 days to fix it, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking from a operation standpoint, like how do you do that, but it's just.
That particular instance of the crack, we got it done right away,
Yeah.
because it was something had to be taken care of right away.
Oh,
The paint itself takes the entire season,
right,
the entire, from April until October, we're out there painting.
who does the painting?
We have our airfield, actually all of our maintenance,
Okay.
participate in that.
Put it on a couple of stand there.
Yeah.
In the past years, we've been asked by other municipalities.
I know.
so-
So good at it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
For probably those reasons.
Yeah, I'm not about to ask, I promise, but it's.
Well,
Well, try, but it's.
Um,
Can ask.
Yeah, yeah, it's like with my city councilor hat on, and I just care so much about roadways now, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'll paint, so, this particular sign was so tiny, it was a slight delamination, but those are the very particular things that they look for on the airfield. That delaminate has to be replaced, so, and each one of those sign panels are about $1,500, $2,000 to replace that sign panel, so it's very expensive. But they have to be replaced when they're not in compliance, so. Again, markings, here are some of the pictures from the inspection of the markings, they look at not only the daytime condition of the markings, to make sure they're not cracking and peeling and things like that, but also what we call the retro reflectivity at night. It has to be able to reflect back into the headlights of the vehicle that we're driving, so. Next one is.
Can I
the-
just ask, in terms of the painting or the signs and stuff, is there, I can't remember, is there a line item that just kind of puts that all together, so you have a fund every year and?
We have a couple line items
Like
like
that.
that, great question. And we have it on here, so under repair maintenance, we have paintings. We have like runway, so we do identify it, and I track it in my airfield cost center. Like we have signage in there, we have like, a lot of this is sort of like, we have all of those little lights along the pavements and stuff like that. So, and replacing those signs, and we have it in the airfield cost center, so we're separating it out.
Has that been going up at a higher rate than in the past? I mean, just in terms of.
It depends, it varies by year. So
Okay.
last year, we had 100 days where we were doing the overlay of our main runway 1533. And while we were doing that, the contractors, part of that contract, they were obligated to do the painting as well. So we got a little lucky last year where our main runway and all of those lines, were
Painted by
done by
someone else.
contractors. We don't usually get so lucky, and there's still many more taxiways and other lines that have to be done, and so. Sometimes we do some things with thermal plastics in some area where it makes sense, we've been experimenting a little bit with that and testing that out. So there's some areas we're doing that, and other areas where it really is a very manually painted precision, but I don't know if you mentioned that. It is very, very precise, the FAA will measure, and it is very specific wherever it is, the color coding arrangements, and they have to be within certain specs in centimeters. I don't know.
Yes, very precise, like a certain distance, it can only be off like half an inch. It's like a 20 foot run, it can only be off just very slightly, and it does. The markings migrate over time when we apply, they move a little bit, so So it's incredibly important to just be as precise as possible. And sometimes they make a little bit of a kind of wiggly line. It's not, they have to go back and do that sometimes. So yeah. Good. Next is not only is it the markings they're looking for, but they're looking at the training records of in this case, it's the fueling records, heritage, all the employees that they have the proper training. And we also have for our fueling inspection, we inspect the fuel trucks as well as the fuel farm. And this is the checklist that we go by. That's this smaller, the one right here. Okay, again, here's the night airfield inspection. A couple more pictures from that. Okay, more fueling as well. You're looking at anything that's deficient, things that we should be basically detecting, having heritage rate those corrective items. They're looking to make sure we're doing everything properly.
So these night airfield inspection, these pictures, were they okay? Or do they need to be
Some of these
I don't know
are.
what that's, it's like there's snow left on the runway, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
these particular pictures, they're okay. This is actually, if you take a look at, can't really see it too well, that's a little bit, that's the center line of the runway. The center line was just repainted and we were waiting for a contractor to come in and do the rest of the runway. And he was just basically showing that there's a difference between what we'd already done versus what wasn't done. And it shows how much of a difference it was, so.
Dave and our crew love it too, because even when they do put fresh paint down on our runway, all of those darker black streaks are rubber from tires.
so you can't keep it.
Right, so that's another thing that Dave and the team does is clean the rubber off of the runway twice a year, I believe. So yeah, and they're out there all the time, yeah, there's a lot.
You budget for that too.
Yeah, well, I was just, wondering, because every year they will pick up different things, so I don't know. That's exactly right.
Here is the wildlife hazard management review. That's something that we do every year. We basically meet with our USDA wildlife biologist, which is Jake, and to see whether or not the current wildlife hazard management plan is working. Anytime we have a bird strike or suspected bird strike, depending on the severity of it, it may actually trigger a review of the wildlife hazard management plan. I think we had one instance where we had a bird strike and had to actually do that to make sure that all the procedures are in place, that we're doing it properly, and it turned out to be a non-issue and it's a random bird strike, but we still have to review that plan, make sure that it is. We don't have to make any changes to that. So, yeah. Some paint projects here. We just replaced this a couple months ago. This is our auto surface paint hole position sign. And you can see this is actual bare pavement on the left side here. So we actually have that entire sign in place. It's what's called thermoplastic sign. And what's great about it is that we don't have, once that's down, we don't have to touch it really for about 8 years. And traditionally, we've had to repaint that every single year or every couple of years. And thermoplastic, it lasts a lot longer. Yes, it's more expensive to initially apply it, but it lasts a lot longer. So typically around 8 years. So this was around 8 years, and it was about time to be replaced. We have it replaced. That's in the north end, attached office. This is what it looked like previously, and this is what it looks like now. It's brand new. It's great. So, all right, this is just our paint crew out there doing their thing, and this is the hole position markings. I don't know exactly what it is, but you go for this. But yeah, I stole this picture from the marketing team to use my presentation. So okay. That's fine. Yeah, I'll do that. All right, so we're also going to this fall, we're going to do rubber removal that Nick was mentioning earlier. It just basically takes all that rubber off of the surface. Because what happens is that the rubber builds up, and over time it creates a slippery surface and reduces the friction braking for the aircraft.
How do you get the rubber off?
What's that?
How's the rubber
Typically
come
they water blast it. There's a couple ways to do it. They water blast it or they use a chemical to take it off as well, because we typically use the water blast to strip off that way. Certain PSI and make sure that doesn't damage the asphalt. So, also want to identify that we recently put in for a grant and we had got approved for a grant for the advance, which is the basically it's vehicles being able to they have basically a transponder in each one of the vehicles. And it allows air traffic to be able to see the vehicles on the ground in real time, their exact location. Incredibly important, especially during low visibility conditions, snowy conditions. And not only that, but we can see it, there's a interface that operations can use as well in order to see the vehicles out there. So that situational awareness is going to be improved dramatically from this. I think a lot of this was from the incident that had an accident happened back several months ago. Or at LaGuardia, right? That took place that, so. Yeah.
That's another grant that Dave, Madison, and the team worked on, so another grant that we have received. No, we haven't received it. But it's appropriated to us when we want it on that, which is the bond paper based upon, which is huge for us. We weren't expecting it this year, which is great. This is.
Seems like it's huge for safety too.
Yeah. It's about $3,000 per vehicle outfit to put and install in your vehicle. So it doesn't.
50 or so vehicles?
52.
52 vehicles.
Yeah. Okay, next up is a little bit about the, I don't know, you had in your in your presentation, but this is the SRA building. The stakes have been put out there, the survey stakes have been put out there. So we're getting closer and closer to this project, which is incredible. The building that currently in it's 1970s era building. It's going to be a huge upgrade from this. And then we have the Fargo apron that's going to be breaking ground actually next week. That's what Wednesday, I believe. And they're going to be starting that project. It's going to be expanding cargo capacity.
This is the movement. Is that what
The Fargo is right by Fat Ass, but the snow removal equipment is on.
Something that I'll do starting next meeting is I'll have like a location base back for each project we have going on. So you guys are aware of where it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said SRE building, but not explaining what SRE stands for, snow removal buildings, we know stands for. Good. All right, next is the full scale exercise. We are going full speed ahead on this. This is our full scale exercise on September 12th. We do a full scale triennial exercise once every 3 years. The last time we did it was 2023. Time flies, and now 2026, and the date is September 12th for that. So we have a scenario. I'm not going to go back too much, but I wrote it. So basically we have a scenario and we have mutual aid responders. They respond in actual real time to assess and kind of test our limitations, our capabilities when it comes to a crash or an incident at the airport. So we have a scenario in place that we're going to test, see all those mutual aid responders. It's going to be a large event, about 150 people attending the event. Hospitals are involved. Ambulance companies, all mutual aid responders, maintenance, operations. The admin team was a special component to test the administrative component of the full scale exercise and emergency. So it's going to be an exciting event. Looking forward to that. So
Does B participate in that with all the planes they have taken off and landing?
To some degree, I think they're welcome to be role players and play basically the victims as part of the event.
Some friends with that, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And it's morbid, serious, fun, if that's all can be said again. But the objective, especially from the FAA perspective, is to really simulate a mass injury or casualty on a larger aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It is not,
No.
mostly crash into something there.
there's a limited amount of property and that would be there, not to say that's not as serious, but we want to make sure we're putting pressure on hospital systems and the mutual aid responders to make sure if there's an aircraft with 150 people on it, we're all at what to do.
Yes, good. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, the victims, the role players for the victims, you know, they get into it typically, you know, they have injuries, we actually have goulash, so they can simulate having broken limbs, things like that, so.
Yeah, that's sweet, that's something.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a very eventful morning that works as well, so. Yeah. Good, all right, next we have the 5K, it's sort of a marketing thing, but operations is part of it too. We're basically ready to go, submitted all the approvals to FAA for this event to take place on October 3rd.
Yeah, I'll add, sign up, so the ability to sign up yesterday, or open up yesterday, we capped it at 500. Over 300 people have already signed up.
Wow. Online.
So we're gonna. Good event last year.
You're
so-
He's busy then.
He said, he did say big rock, but he said.
Yeah.
That's right.
Keywords.
Very selfless, very selfless.
All right, that is all I had. Do you have any questions?
All right, any questions for Dave?
Under 5 minutes.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much.
I'll move on to item 9, which is the financial update for Marie.
Hello, everyone. So you have in front of you this month, you have the financial packet for May, the P&L, so the revenue expenses, the revenue recovery metrics. And then because I was doing this so much after June 30th, I did include the June bank balances. I thought that would be a little bit more relevant as we're wrapping up. So June 30th is the end of our fiscal year, July 1st, the beginning of our new year. And so we're going through and trying to make sure if there's any final bills that are coming in, particularly we see it mostly in our construction projects, where those are coming in the 3rd week, 4th week of July, where we're getting some of that, where the work has already happened. But the year is looking really good. So, but we're still going through and turning up as we get all the reports from everybody on the revenues and everything. So in here, we did renew, we had a rent anticipation note, which we've been doing each and every year. This is a mechanism which allows us, if we need to borrow on it, to help manage our cash flow. And it's a lot of years I don't borrow very much money, but we do like to have it as an avenue with any of our grants. When we have billed up to 90% of the grant, we are unable, until we close out that grant, the last 10% to get reimbursed under the FAA, we can't request it until the grant is closed out. Particularly with the next project that we have 4 grants from the FAA alone related to that. And we're not gonna be able to close out any of those grants until we finish up the work on it. So we've done so much of the construction that we're holding some of that. So we do have, we renewed the revenue anticipation note for $10 million. Currently have $4.8 million right now, so there's still capacity to borrow on that. We haven't done so yet. We are hoping that our renovations on the 2nd floor, as you make your way toward the old corridor and where our offices used to be, and all of that will be opening up. The timeline for construction completion on that is what, a few months, right? September, perhaps.
Yeah.
So So, you know, into the fall, we expect to have that done. So when that's all completed, we'll be wrapping up this project and able to close out all these grants. So I did borrow on there. The interest on what we borrow is eligible for reimbursement within the PFC program. I did mention in here, well, I haven't seen any of you, we had put in a PFC, that is our passenger facility charge application. We have to request, there is a process where we work with consulting and presenting to the airlines how we're gonna spend the PFC passenger program is $4.50 that gets added to each ticket. And so that money gets sent to us monthly, they're required, so 30 days after the end of every month, every airline submits to us. And, but we have to petition the FAA, put in the application on the ability to collect it and the ability to spend it. So we submitted another application. I've talked about that in some of the other meetings. The application went in June and it got approved at the end of June. So the biggest component of that was our snow removal equipment building, the SRE building, was getting the 85% of the financing cost is eligible to be covered under the PFC. So we have a funding source over the next 15 years on our SRE building lease to be able to drive out and pay. The remaining 15% is going to be paid for out of the revenues in our airfield cost center. So our landing fees and ground rents and building rents that we have in that cost center. So
That's an annual application?
no,
Oh.
so what we do, we do it when we need to do it. You always want to make sure we have what's called an expiration date. So when we put in and apply for the PFCs, to impose a rate, to impose collection, I should say, and then the ability to spend that on approved projects, they will estimate what that date is. So that date was, we'll say, was maybe January of 2029 was what the current on the last application 9, what that anticipated expiration date is. It can move a little bit, depending on if your claimants are growing, that expiration date is actually going to be there. So, right, because you're kind of predicting on what you think you're going to be collecting and paying out. So we have put in this application because this was a project that was really necessary for us to go do. We didn't have an opportunity we explored every opportunity to finance it in another way or get a grant, but that was not available. So we did close on July 17th. We closed on the SRE lease financing. So we did this as a lease, a 15-year lease. It is a rate of 4.88%, which was really competitive. And we were really pleased with that. We had predictions at a higher, we anticipated it could be high. So really pleased. We will be making our semi-annual payments in January of 2027. So all of that have to kind of come together in order for us to be able to go ahead and sign the contracts, which we had authorization to do. But we weren't going to sign the contracts until we had the financing in place, and we wanted to make sure we had the ability to fund those payments. So all of that is together and secured for the airport. The year-to-date revenues through May were $25.6 million. Our operating revenues are higher than they were a year ago. The primary, I'll say revenue source that has been really driving that higher is the increase in the parking garage revenue. And a year ago in July, we increased the daily maximum rate from $12 to $14 a day. So we've continued to have strong demand for parking. It's convenience and people really continue to park there. And we've had some other increases that we're seeing. Our expenses, we do have, there's a sheet in here that sort of shows the major revenues that we have and tracking them. You can see them over time, which is always interesting to look at. Expenses through May were $18.7 million. So that was a 4.2% increase over what we had spent at the same time in prior year. There are some encumbrances on some large projects as well, but overall, some of those were actually starting to get paid out and are reflected in there. And then our cash, as of June 30th, we had $3.3 million in the airport unrestricted cash accounts. We did not end up sending the money. This is a lower amount than we've had the last number of years, but a healthy amount considering that we have had such large construction projects, and some portions of those construction projects are, they came out of our cast essentially because they were maybe ineligible to be reimbursed under an FAA grant. So there's some elements like this whole floor up here is not considered eligible under the FAA grant. So all in all, I think we are wrapping up the year in a healthy way, and have to point back, and we're already 1 month into the year. So I will point out, since Helen, you asked the question.
Looking for.
So under, it is not, I don't break it out because it would be very long. So, but under the 6,300 repairs and maintenance, we have at least a dozen different accounts, sub-accounts, which flow into there.
That's too big.
And so when we look at it, we are able to really track the repairs that are happening on the airfield, the repairs that are happening with drainage repairs are helping with buildings. So we do break it out. We have all of that detail, and we break it out not only by all of those additional accounts, but that's we track it.
Have you noticed any, I don't like the word issues, any conversations since the increase in the market rush?
I haven't really had a lot coming back.
Yeah, Jared, I haven't heard of any conversations. Jillian, you might get some every now and again, but probably what is the parking rate?
Yeah.
I think it's actually like very positive because we have that hour free now.
Okay, that's what I noticed.
Yeah, if you utilize the porch or you pick someone up, it's quite easy to enter and exit.
So we increased that. It was only 10 minutes or 15 minutes before. It wasn't very long. And what? 4. It was 4. Yeah. Okay.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
I don't think it is even posted.
No, it was more like the software program, 4 minutes.
So-
She can't even control it.
By accident, and then you're like, oh gosh, why did I turn in here? You could get out. But so now, but the hour, I mean, we were charging $1 for that first hour, essentially what we're doing. And now, so we kind of offset and said, yeah, it's fine.
When Marie and I first looked at the numbers, we had about 55,000 transactions of less than 1 hour. We need $55,000. It wasn't a revenue source. So like Madison said, the residual impacts both to the community and to our customers.
Yeah.
Free, and then there's other items. So
Oh, there was
It's like 150 a day.
yeah.
More.
a lot of people park in there to maybe come in and help somebody or come in and grab somebody and help them with their luggage or family member. I mean, I know they do.
That would be an interesting data point though, since we've gone free, if that's increased or stayed the same after about that.
And the offsetting thing is most people use credit cards to come up with anyway, for their pay. And so you get a certain incremental charge just to use the credit card. So when you're charging $1, I mean, you're not recognizing as much of that. So, it's really a benefit, I think, to the customers, the manageable. I'll entertain any other questions.
Commissioners, anything else for me?
No, I think pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's move on to item 10, the construction update for Mass.
All right.
Now it's the
Here's the construction update. So as we touched on a few months ago, ATP funding for the South Terminal was not received. We submitted approximately $65 million. We were really hopeful. But right now that project's on hold. Cargo apron, Dave touched on this a little bit in his update. Construction will actually begin next Wednesday. We have our FAA required pre-construction meeting last Wednesday, July 29th, so we're ready to begin there. SRE, this has been touched on a little bit as well. As Marie noted, we finalized the funding for this project. And contracts are being finalized right now. On here, it says an August start, it's looking like an August, early September start date for construction. We actually had an on-site meeting with FAA 3 weeks ago, and we're currently looking towards our update CIP, our capital improvement plan, and that's a projection for the next 5 years. Our annual meeting this year is set in September. We're looking forward to that. Item 8, our glycol system upgrade. I think Larry noted that our OE siting review was actually approved, which is really big for us. That kind of pushes us more into the design phase. Which a few years ago, we completed the glycol study, which gave us this initial submittal for the points that the FAA was reviewing. And then Project Next, North Concourse, we're in it right now, it's fully operational with gates 1 through 4. Anticipated completion of the entire project, including the second floor construction. Right now is looking at early fall, mid-September to early October completion. Taxiway Charlie Ball rehab, right now, construction is completely finished. The crew is coming back though in 30 days to do final line striping completed. The final inspection for that project is set right after the final line striping is late August for that date. And then ongoing, we're on obstruction removal project. The scope has been approved by the FAA. This is moving forward for next steps. Any questions on the construction update?
Commissioners, anything from Madison? All right. Thank you, Madison. We can move on to another update for you. 11.1 residential sound installation.
Yep. Phase 5 of our residential sound installation project construction is pretty much complete at this point. We're going a few items to finalize in a few homes. And then our noise exposure map update, which was a grant that we received a few years ago. This closure was submitted, so we hope to see received. Actually, there was no final for that submittal. But after you receive a grant from the FAA, you have a certain amount of time to close that out. So we submitted that one just this past week. And then our OLDCC, Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation, that was our $8.1 million grant, 7.3 million that we received from them. We had 39 units in the first bid. At this point, we're still waiting on the notice to receive, but contracts and everything's in with the consultant and the contractor for that project. With the remaining funding, with the grant, we're hoping to go out to bid for the second group of homes early spring. That's it, goes on.
Commissioners, anything from Madison on this time? All right. Oh, sorry.
I'd be remiss not to mention that Larry is obviously not here. This, we believe, is the first time he's ever missed an airport commission. Well, what's really amazing, and the team that is there is Madison, of course, can seamlessly update you and the board and the public on these types of things. So Larry extends his hellos and maybe not so much thinking about us right now, but
I hope he's
and then just a final note too, part of the residential sound insulation program. Thank you so much for the invite. We'll also be at the Winooski City Council meeting. I think it's September 21.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, great. Yeah. So let's join us.
That program seems like it's really moving along.
It really does.
It took it wasn't forever, so like the Lysol thing, but this might a little faster. I think we were talking about Lysol before we were talking about sound insulation.
Probably, actually, yeah.
So this seems to be moving along.
Yeah, and it's in like this momentum and repetition.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
not just
Yeah.
Right, it's just, you're getting money and then there's more houses, you have the process.
And the uniqueness and the details associated with personalities and individual homeowners and designs of houses is I don't know, yeah, so it's super complex that I don't have that written.
Excellent. All right, we'll move on to item number 22, which is our quarterly noise comment report. Take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, so not much to share since the prior presentation in the end of April. We've had four comments between end of April and end of July. And of those four comments, three of them were comments by the same person. So that's all I've got. Any questions about noise comments?
Yeah, usually having for Jesse.
No, I mean, the numbers go way down because all the F-35s are somewhere else, right? Not all of them, they're well, a whole
Not
bunch
necessarily,
of, most of them have gone, right?
I don't think it's. I'm trying to think of the best way to present it if we wanted to, but
Lots of comments here, less comments.
Yeah, I was looking when the
Yeah.
comments came in, so.
it's been a gradual decline. I would say the majority, if not all of the comments are not F-35 related. When I think about the comments that have come in the last year or so,
Almost 64% of military, I mean, that's a lot.
I would say, I'm not sure how I would, or if we would present comments, but that's Google's data and
Last year, all right, so the last two look very different.
Yeah.
No Zeppelin comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love that comment is, why don't you have Zeppelin or flips?
Very good. All right, thank you, Jesse. So we'll move on to item 12, which is the director's report from Nick.
Great, I am just going to share my screen as well. Is it that one? All right, okay, real quickly, I think Madison and Marie and others have talked about our project next. Notice that we don't have any pictures of this building, although it is always awesome to put it into the slideshow. What you are seeing though is maybe more of a complex situation of renovating existing building than actually building a new building.
Yeah.
We are now in the original part of the terminal building, which was built in 1948. That brick wall doesn't look very special when you look at it here, but it means quite a lot to this airport. That brick wall was built in 1948. That was the original terminal building. We didn't see it on any blueprints or any plans, so we didn't know that we were gonna have to keep it there. It is stunning, so we're gonna actually keep it there, preserve it, and kind of focus on it as part of the historical analysis. And behind that wall there is the observation tower, which you can actually see this staircase just underneath, which we're also going to highlight and kind of incorporate into not just a space to highlight how the land was originally used here with indigenous people, but also the history of the airport, the history of all of the various aspects of this space kind of right around that observation tower area. Dave talked quite a bit about the apron and the line striping. We're completely open, as the team said. Out there, we have a couple of things that we have to do adjacent to this particular building next to the air traffic control tower, but it's coming along really nicely. Couple of hiccups here and there. New wood ceiling is actually being put up today. So it is the second floor of this original, what is this, almost 70-year-old building is looking modern, but still highlighting all the history that's within it. Since our last meeting, of course, it hits the news. Hopefully you have seen it, but we wanted to make sure you heard it from us directly. Breeze has announced new service. We haven't gone to BWI Baltimore in close to 30 years. Yeah, 25-ish years. But we're going back. Breeze is bringing that back starting October 4th, 3 times a week. Jeff and I are going to be on the inaugural flight. We're also going to take advantage of meeting with our congressional delegation by heading to Washington DC and meeting with the teams down there as well. But October 4th, we're back to BWI with the breeze through to Vero Beach, which is also a new one for us. This breeze through meaning you go to BWI, you stay on the plane, don't get off the plane, everybody deboards, people come back on, and you head right to Vero Beach after. So kind of a classic way of flying in a different way.
I'd also like to add, we submitted an application for a SASE grant, a small.
Small community air service,
That'll be great. And we should hear about that in the next couple of weeks. It's opening up big service to 2 locations.
Our last time we received a SCASD grant was to receive our Atlanta, Georgia flight with Delta Airlines. So it's been a few years. This is almost compared to what's called an essential air service program. So Rutland, Plattsburgh, places like Presque Isle, Maine are eligible for those types of essential air service program grants, which subsidizes airlines to fly out of those airports, almost guaranteeing that seats are filled to make sure airlines serve small rural communities. We're too large, our area is too large, so we're not eligible for these. So alternative is the SCASD grant, which is highly competitive. Another celebration that we had, we were able, in partnership with Heritage Aviation, celebrate Grace Pugh. Grace Pugh was not only the first female licensed pilot in the state of Vermont. She was instrumental amongst this airport and amongst many friends and family at this airport. Her family came up, some from Florida, some live locally. Lucy McClue Pugh, this is Grace's daughter, finally published Grace's memoir and document. So this book is now published and available online. We held a really cool, amazing, goosebumpy service because in that picture on the left, Grace Pugh and her husband Harold Pugh built that building back in 1930, 1940 era, which was the original terminal building of the airport. This is just south of the Eldridge Cemetery. It's called our Beacon building. So they celebrated their book opening at that building at her parents' building, which is really great. We're going to be celebrating this book even more. We're showcasing this in one of our showcase areas downstairs in the new building. We've helped them with some signage and a whole bunch of other things as well for their kind of roadshow that they're publishing. And great guy. And Hudson News is going to partner with us as well, so they're going to carry this book to sell it inside the terminal here. It's a pretty fascinating book. It's really cool. I'm sure you heard in the news, our amazing Vermont Special Olympics team went out to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we were able to celebrate with them again, another partnership with Heritage Aviation. That bus is actually at Heritage Aviation. There's a few of them that flew out of Heritage to Minnesota, and then a bunch of folks. You can see our good friend Arrow the Griffin, myself, and a couple of team members, I believe, in there, as well as the Vermont Special Olympics team. But this was a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. They've left and come back since, but they had a pretty amazing time. Actually, I was at the Vermont Lake Monsters game too when they celebrated all their medals. It's really cool. We continue to partner with our community partners, with South Burlington in this particular case. Jesse, I think you took this picture.
No.
No.
One was from,
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. So this is on our new pedestrian bike path across the way, being heavily used by the South Burlington Farmers Market. I think the next one is August 7th, this Friday.
yes.
Yeah, this Friday. Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. Which is really cool. Outdoor patio open, we're actually extending the hours. If you look out on the rooftop, I think the hours right now say 8 to 4, I believe. Those will be changed to 7 to 5, so we're gonna extend those hours a little bit longer as well. This one definitely didn't take this picture,
No, I don't think.
but you were in it.
And they have plants now.
Oh, nice, that's new from last time.
Yes.
Oh, right, and from the picture.
And from the picture.
Everybody's grown.
And the kids, the plane, there's a plane taking off, there's the plants.
They love me.
Yeah, it looks really spectacular out there. Some parking garage statistics, you can see we're a little bit lower average in the months of May and June, again, average 58%. I think we really need to show you kind of some comparisons to kind of see year over year what that looks like. Especially as we break in our. Same with domestic and Canadian license plate. This is literally our physical license plate counting of the garage, just to get a general idea. But you can see we're relatively flat on Canadian travelers using the airport. I think most of these were already discussed, so I'll cruise through these. Snow removal equipment, building, construction starting, super excited, especially for our team. Jeff, you want to talk about it? Children's area, adaptation room?
Yes, you talked about last month, received 2 grants, through the Airport Terminal Project, program. One is for $150,000, and we're working on constructing a kids play area. I like to call it, the Vermont Life. It will feature, hopefully, covered bridge, some big, trees, some cabin fields. So if you're best for kids, get your energy out. We also received $10,000 to expand our location pond services. Get one. It's the first time we've secured ATV grants like that.
This is the first and only time, I'm sorry, first time, and maybe hopefully not the only time. That's what I meant. But yeah, we applied for several $1 million of airport terminal program grants. And we were very fortunate to receive around 260,000. So we're gonna keep pushing for the several million number. Full scale exercise, they did a great job explaining that. Conferences, United Airlines for the first time that I ever remember, or know about. United Airlines is hosting a conference specifically for marketing at their headquarters in Chicago. So Jeff and Alex will be attending that this month. Next week. Yeah.
What is that?
What is the Airport Councils International North America, or ACINA for short, has their annual conference that Jeff, Larry, and myself will be attending. This is in Philadelphia. And super excited about the 5K run. Just as a side note, I am also going to be gone over the next 2 weeks. I will be on vacation. And Dave will be acting director in my absence. And very much looking forward to it. Some statistics for you. Scheduled departures overall not as high as certainly 2008. When it comes to total number of air carrier departures, but you can see we have about 800-ish higher than last year for total departures. These are projections. So we're looking really on par with last year if you kind of compare year over year, which is great. Average number of seats in the next slide continue to climb. In fact, I ran this report recently using a new AI program actually. That with 2026, we're looking at most likely our average per flight departure is going to look like over 100 seats. Meaning planes continue to grow larger, especially with BTV. So we're really happy. Our load factors continue to remain pretty consistent at about that 81-ish% load factor. 81% of those scheduled seats being filled. We're getting closer and closer to 1 million seats being filled, and you can see in 2008, we were just over the million mark. So we're getting very close to that.
Excuse me, Robin has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't even see.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robin.
You're muted.
Muted,
you go.
unmuted. Okay. Did unmute it. Okay, can you go back to the last one? Okay, so all of these are just projections up until July, or are they actual until July and then August, their projections for 2026?
The chart does reflect that it's, the dotted lines projection, but the solid line should continue to July.
So May is actual numbers through May.
So the red is actual. Then we get to June.
All of the solid lines are actual numbers, only the dashed line is projection. And that correlates, we can show that on the left-hand data chart as well. So June and beyond in 2026 is projected.
Okay, so we don't really have our summer numbers yet that are actual for this year.
No.
Yeah, we're still in summer.
No.
Through what date, Robin, are you asking?
So
These are real schedules, if that's what you're asking. These are DOT airline scheduled reported numbers for the rest of the
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What the projection is.
All right. So they don't change that much from like what they're going to actually be unless there's like thunderstorms and everybody cancels, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then go to the next one. Okay. And then, sorry, same thing. I know we look at this chart all the time, but it just occurred to me that maybe I was like completely looking at it wrong. And now this one has what you thought it was going to do and what it did.
Yes, so this one is now the scheduled seats. So up through May, and actually we can add the dash line to this chart as well. Up through May are actual scheduled seats that flew into the airport in every prior year is the actual seat number. Projections include June through the rest of the calendar year 2026 based on airline reports to the Department of Transportation.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. And then of course, all of this goes to a projected passenger statistic. Again, taking that scheduled seat number that the airlines report, we generally put an 80% projected load factor, even though we're slightly higher than that on the average, to fill in kind of our projections for how many people are going to be on those outbound flights. So this is outbound passengers only, July through December, and projections. What we're showing here is we want to keep the projection on there so that you can see without us changing that, and then what are the actuals. So you can start seeing that in the first quarter of this calendar year, we're generally higher than our projections, which is great. As we hit April, May, and into June, we're lower then we're lower than what our projections used to be. So we're slightly lower. Overall calendar year, we're still looking higher than last year total by about 12,000 additional passengers. Higher than 2019 and getting closer and closer to 2008. This also does not include, I don't think, the new Vero Beach and the Baltimore flights. So as those types of things and dynamics change and there's delays from airlines reporting to DOT, which is where we pull our information, we won't instantaneously have that data. And that's what I have for you prior to my vacation.
Which, if I remember, starts immediately after this meeting.
If you remember correctly. No, actually, after meeting with Madison, and I have a feeling other people are gonna have questions for me.
Okay, fair enough. Commissioners, anything for Nick on his report? All right, we will move on to item 13, which is commissioner items. We did not receive any in advance, but are there any items that commissioners wish to introduce at this time?
I do have a question.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
So curiously, I was picking somebody up at the airport 2 nights ago, and this random person approached the car and he said, "Hey, I know this looks terrible, but the taxis are gone. The Wi-Fi is not working. I've got no data and I can't order an Uber, and I've been here for over an hour." And I said, "Can you do a hotspot?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Hook up." So he hooks up to the hotspot and he orders his Uber. And he says, "Thank you very much. I'm Quebecois. I haven't been going through the airport, but I really appreciate your help." And so it led me to wonder, have we been having problems with our Wi-Fi? Has that been a thing, or was it just him?
Yeah, no known issues with Wi-Fi. Of course, technology, we might have outages every now and again. I don't know of any unless.
But it hasn't really been a thing.
No.
I haven't had any trouble getting on Wi-Fi, but yeah, airport commissioner saved the day. So yeah, it was late. It was the late United that I was picking up for. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. It's very interesting. Oh, and we're doing the run, the 5K. Yay!
Yes, we are.
I'll alert the press. People will be very happy to hear that.
Yeah, we're excited.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Rob. Anything else? Go ahead, Chip.
You're muted.
Still muted.
You're still muted.
It happened to me too.
My apologies. I thought Robin was going in a different direction with that. Anecdotally, what I've heard similar, and this is not an airport issue, it's really more of an Uber issue, but the lack of any service, for that last fight. I've had a number of people who literally have been stuck at the airport for over an hour waiting for an Uber to get there to get them home after that late flight. So this is not on us to solve, but at least anecdotally, from people that I know are on that, I'm hearing frustration, I'll say, with trying to get home after a long flight.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no taxis there.
It definitely is good to know about those situations. We have a good relationship with Uber now, so we can kind of push a little bit more. We went through rate changes with them recently, which is great. And we did the same thing with the taxi board as well. This was about a year and a half, 2 years ago, somewhere in that time range, where we tried to incentivize taxis with a higher rate for overnight operations to make sure that they stay here. But it's really good information to know so that we can pass this and request additional services if we can.
If I can expand a little bit, so great question, Chip. About 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, WCAX did a pretty in-depth investigative report on the lack of Uber and Lyft. And what we're finding, what our data is showing, is we're
40, 50, 60% in riders, or trips, I should say, to and from the airport. There's not enough Uber drivers. And a lot of them this is their part-time gig, they'll do it for 4 or 5 hours after they work for some extra cash. But we are up substantially with Uber and Lyft, so we really encourage our passengers, we do have some language out there to try to plan ahead, schedule a trip ahead of time. Otherwise, we have 4 or 5 flights that come in late at night, and you're gonna be competing for a very small pool of available drivers.
I'd say if you want more Uber and Lyft drivers, you could probably talk to those corporations and have them pay their people a livable wage. That might be the best way to get something done. But yeah, I think supporting local businesses and going taxi is probably the best way to do it.
The other piece is, Nick, I don't know how amenable they are, but they clearly have data of how many requests are made for a ride and what the average time for pickup is. So you don't have to hear anecdotal, if they're willing to provide the data, you don't have to rely on anecdotal, they have it.
Yeah, we can check in with them and see what they can provide. We get monthly reports on trips, of course. But yeah, we can dig into that.
Yeah, it'll express that that there's an issue in this area. It's like good to see the data on it.
Right.
So yeah, right.
Thank you.
Anything? Thank you. Thank you, Chip. Anything else, commissioners, in this time? All right, move on to item 14, which is follow-up items. I don't know if there's any follow-ups at this meeting, Nick. On either of these.
A slight amount.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should still keep them on.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna be a full presentation on them. Anyways, on the AI topic, Andrew and I had a great conversation the other day over a cup of coffee, and I think there's definitely some progress on some of our citywide AI initiatives. So nothing that I've said in the past has changed. City is still working on a formal policy on AI. That's when I'll come back to the commission and give a presentation on not just the policy, but also what the airport does and uses. I could talk here and there about how we use it, what we use it, mostly through contractors or software providers. But I have it open right now on something that I'm working on through our DOT channels that we have, which is fascinating. But I think it's better aligned with discussion through the policy. And the second one was the update on the South Burlington aviation fuel taxes. There's been lots of conversation happening on that front. And again, I'm gonna bring it back at a later date, but I'm hoping on the first commission meeting in September, I will have a much larger update with even a formal letter that I can share that hopefully will be sitting in front of City Council. South Burlington City Council in the month of September or maybe a little bit later. But yeah, good progress on both fronts.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, anything for Nick on these 2 follow-up items? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I just say one thing?
Oh, yes,
Absolutely. I just wanted to say one, I'm deeply appreciative to the team, also Larry. I sent out my first very delayed counselor report to I stood at a public forum, particularly about the sun mitigation project. And I had some really wonderful feedback is not the right word, but just engagement from residents of Winooski. I even got one from a resident, a literal state rep from Colchester who didn't know about the sun mitigation project and what was happening. And so I'm just really grateful to all of you who have just been answering all of my questions and helping me get up to date and sharing that information, because I do believe that knowledge is power. And so I'm just really appreciative that you guys are all coming to our September 21st city council meeting. Our road is not as nice. And this was amazing. Our road is stuck in the
Story.
and so I just wanted to say, I have just enjoyed being on airport commission, and I've learned so much, but just having a team who's really gung ho to work with me has been really great. And then I also just want to name that this is the first airport commission meeting that I've almost cried at. It was so
And they left, I wanted to say something and I didn't get a chance to, but I'm so grateful. My first commission meeting was January of this year, where a group of activists showed up. And I remember being so excited because like activism was my bread and butter. And I just think it is a testament to them, and to you all, that they wanted to come to celebrate it. And I think as someone who has been on the other side of the table, like with a bullhorn and like screaming at institutions, that like they felt, and I'm like, I've been working with the three of them for a very long time, two of them in particular, but like that they felt comfortable enough, this is my language about theirs, but like comfortable enough and safe enough to like enter this space and to be in deep, like, you know, collaboration with you all, and like literally to you next, and then you've been working literally for a while and leave. And so I just really want to like, it means so much, and like that on a whole. And so yeah, I just like really wanted to like sort of bookmark our meeting with that, because I'm just so deeply appreciative to like the leadership of the airport, all of the airport commissioners, and it just like really means a lot, and I don't want it to go unnoticed. And as Leaf had said, like it's been a year, and like I think that is something just to really celebrate, and I hope that
Not to try and fail is not. And this
Oh. You just get
Sorry, I accident-
Okay, anyway, I just like really want to commend you all, and the final note I'll say is that there will be airports across the country who will say like, this is not possible, we cannot do this, it is too hard, and for them to look to Burlington and to the leadership of all of you, and for you all to say it actually isn't that hard, and we did it, and we were successful for a year, is astonishing. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this team. I'm so grateful to the staff and all of you. So that's been great. Well, I would say thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Al. Those are good comments.
Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Jay.
Okay. First, hard to follow that, not, but I'm sorry I missed the start of the meeting, and I had a spy in the room that said that Tim was reelected as chair, which I'm very happy about. So congratulations, and thanks for reelecting me, if I heard correctly, as vice chair. I'm happy to continue in that role, and look forward to continue to working with all of you. So just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Thank you, Jay. All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll say by Helen, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And goodbye.
Congratulations, Tim.